All right, we're with South Carolina State football coach Buddy Pugh as we chat while watching the 2A championship games at Benedict College. And first of all, some great high school football taking place tonight.
Really good games. That Batesburg-Leesville game was really good. So I'm excited about seeing just some football where I don't have any pressure.
See some guys you like out there?
There's always a guy, too, that you might like a little bit. Yeah.
How do you like this new rule that they implemented where if you're
All-Star games? Yeah.
No. The one about if you're a mid-year enrollee and you sign your financial papers, then the colleges can talk about you publicly like you're already in school.
Well, that's not that big a deal because what happens is they sign you the previous year anyway. So, in those kind of cases, it's just semantics of sorts. So that's not that big a deal. The rule that we're a little bit getting used to at this point is the can't go to all-star practices and that kind of stuff anymore, the banquets and that kind of stuff. So, it's always been big for us to go to the all-star games and shrine games and that kind of stuff. And, all that's out from at least for the time being.
That's for everybody. I mean, it had been like that for the
Division
bigger
I schools. Yeah, it's for the 1AAs now, too, so which is what affects us.
And you guys have a dead period that hits like December 15th. It lasts for about a month.
The Shrine game is actually during that dead period this year, which is a little bit unusual. But at the same time, it gives the coaches a little bit of a chance to have some time off because we spend a lot of time either in the road or in the offices and that kind of stuff. So it might be good that you get a chance to have a little time off.
Absolutely. Congratulations on your season. You got back to the playoffs this year. And, boy, I tell you what, you had 3 losses, but 2 of them were very, very close. You had that third loss, of course, to Clemson. So we kind of discount that. The other 2, you were right there.
But you know what? The Clemson game is what really gave us some confidence because our defense played really well. And, we just kind of gave them some points on offense that way. But, we knew from that point that we could kind of compete with most of the better teams in the country. And, of course, we played coast to close and lost to Bethune down at Bethune. But the Furman game was a little bit disappointing last weekend because we didn't really take care of our business. And, when you get opportunities to, to host and that kind of stuff and you feel like you kind of evenly matched that way, then you got to take advantage of those kinds of situations. And, we kind of let them off the hook a little bit. And I got to take my hat off to Bruce Fowler and his outfit because those guys are good football coaches. And Furman had a fabulous year. And, they got going. They had their quarterback out. The Hannah kid was out for a while at the beginning of the year. And they got and as they were working on, trying to get some of the younger kids going, it kind of created a necessity was the mother of invention kind of situation for them where they created some other players for them. And they got to the end of the year and they played really well. And I'm kind of pulling for them tomorrow against North Dakota State out in somewhere in North Dakota.
Yeah, where it's really cold.
Somewhere cold, yeah.
Well, okay, here we go. All right, we're back. So, you're going to lose a pretty good amount of players off of your team this year. So what about kind of keeping going what you got going?
Yeah, well, we got to get our quarterbacks going. We got to figure out which one of those 2 or 3 guys, will be our guy. We got the Wilder kid coming back, and we've got Copeland coming back, and we got Collett coming back. So all 3 of those guys got pretty good potential. So we have to see what happens there, and then you need to fit a couple guys in our offensive line. We got some guys coming back. We should be okay there. And then the rest of us, mostly defensive stuff. So, hopefully we can get everybody going on the same page and play good again next year.
Wide open competition in the spring at quarterback?
Yeah, pretty much. But now we'll make a decision probably around midway. And then from that point, we'll give that guy most of the reps. That's just kind of you can't get everybody ready. You got to figure out who is the guy and then kind of go with that guy.
How's your schedule look for next year?
Pretty much the same as last year. We get Clemson again, I think, somewhere in there. We get Coastal Carolina. We get Furman. And then we get our 8 conference games. We play 4 of those on the road and 4 home. So we have 5 games at home and 6 on the road.
Are you playing in any classics?
We've been trying to get that 100 black men's game going again in Atlanta. We played A&T there last year. And that's a good deal for us because you get a kind of easy travel trip there, and you make a little bit of dust both years as opposed to, when you go to their place, you don't make anything. When they come to yours, they don't. So, it's been a pretty attractive deal for us, and hopefully we can get that going again.
So do you see next year's team, at least on paper, as a team that will be playoff caliber going into the season?
Let's hope so. We play a couple of the better teams in our league at home. That always gives you a little bit of a better angle at getting into the playoffs that way. And then, I think this team will continue to develop to the point where we'll be, at least competitive with the better teams in the country. And we've got our staff in place. I think having Coach Blackwell back on offense has really helped us a bunch. And Steve Bird has worked with our wide receivers. He was a new guy last year. So we can keep that group of guys together. Then the continuity of having the staff together for a couple of years, I think, will give us a chance to kind of build on what we had last year.
All right. And recruiting at this stage of the game for you guys,
yeah.
I know the FCS teams kind of have to wait and see who's kind of out there. But you know what?
We do.
Most of the guys who are going to go major have already made their decisions.
You know what, though, and that's been really one of the nuances of recruiting in the last 10, 12 years that's been a little bit different. Down south, it was always that way. Up north where guys committed earlier. But now that's kind of taking hold down here now. So most of the big boys are done, and, it sorts that process out for us a little bit better. It just gives some of the other guys who are in between us and the big boys a little more time to kind of go through and pick another level of guys out of that particular situation. But, I'm thinking that we'll get a pretty good class again. And we generally find our guys. That's just kind of how it works. The Furman guys find theirs. The Central guys find theirs. Coastal gets theirs. And, and eventually Newberry gets there. So it kind of sorts out in a way where we generally can get most of what we need.
Is there a priority position for you that you have to fill?
Yeah, we always got to have, a position or two. We need a tight end or two. We need a couple tight ends. We got to have kickers. We've lost both of our kickers from last year. And it's kind of strange in that we lost all of them at one time. You kind of stack those guys. That doesn't happen with this. But, that is the worst case scenario there. And, we got to have a couple safeties, a couple deep defensive back kind of guys that can come up and run fit and that kind of stuff, guys that got a little bit of bite to them. And sometimes you need a little older guy that way because the little young guys, although they can run and play the ball in the air and that kind of stuff, you hit them a couple of times, they come apart. So we got to get a guy that's got a little meat on his bone.
Well, considering how good you and I look together here on this video, if you ever kick Ernest out of his seats, keep me in mind for the Buddy Pugh show.
I'll keep that in mind when I'm negotiating his contract next
year.
There
you go. Yeah, I'll come very cheaply, I can tell you. Much cheaper than he is.
Well, at least the story I'm going to tell him now is that you're really going to come cheap.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me, Phil.
Great seeing, enjoying your season.
You have a good weekend.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.